tonight's demonstration is a seahorse. So we're continuing with the demos related to under the sea or underwater creatures. And so I'm going to go ahead and get overhead right now, and we will get started creating this fun little guy. There we go. So like I said, I tried, and I was working from different examples and images, and what I ultimately ended up getting correct kind of vision of was when I looked at an actual real seahorse. And then I was able to say, okay, I know how I want to paint this guy, and it worked out really well. Okay, so I'm going to share with you first of all how to sketch him. Okay, and I want you to see just real quick, let's come down a little bit closer. There we go. There. I want you to see that these are S curves here. See this here and here? So they're backwards S curves, but well, this one isn't. But anyway, so they're S curves, and then he has a long tail, and sometimes the tails are curled into a curl. Their tails actually is what they use to hold themselves to something underwater, like a piece of coral or a piece of seagrass or something. They wind their tail around it, and that's how they just kind of sit there and drift and eat. And so you can have it where the tail is unfurled like that, or if it's curled up tight, it looks really cute too. So then he has like this little sideways bottle shape on for a head. Okay, so he's got a long snout right here with a little protrusion at the end, and then a cheek that comes down like this, and then his head curls around and meets that S. Okay, so when you look at that as a sketch, all right, this is what he looks like. Oops, let's back up just a hair here. Okay, so just as a sketch, he kind of looks like he's wearing a gas mask, doesn't he? He's got that long bottle nose right here with a little round end, and his eye is set back right where the curve starts to go up to the head right there. Okay, and then up off, when I paint these you'll see this, but up off the sides is where he has all these little I don't know what they are. They're not gills, they're not fins, but they're little protrusions, little spikes that stick out around the back of him. And then the front of him has got this structure, and if you've ever seen a skeleton of one, you'll see it. But it comes in has little indentations, like curves like this. Okay, and so if you get the shape first and then come from there and do all these little small points, right, like that. Okay, and then once you get them, then I'll make them stronger so that you can see them, because it gets a little washed out. Okay, so that's the belly right there. So he's got a big protruding belly. And then as it comes into the tail, it gets a little smoother on this side. Okay, now this piece right here is where you're seeing kind of the flat front of the belly. So it's going to come out, and these points are going to line up. See there? So you have a second curve that comes down, and then off of that you can do more of these little points that stick out, and then they meet down there. Okay, so this is like the front of his belly from the side. Then you have from the top of the head, you'll have another set of these points coming out like this, and they get wider as you come down. So now here I've got point to point, see that? And then, so they're going opposite. So these are pointing to the left, these are pointing to the right. And these points line up across from each other, see that? So I'm eyeballing this as I come down. And then as it gets down towards the bottom, it joins up with the side of the body that becomes the tail. Okay, Now, this part is fairly smooth. It comes out and around. This is the back of him. And then it goes in a little bit. And then it comes back down. And when it comes back down and starts to form the tail, then you get those little points again. Going down the tail, following the curve, and up to the tip. And then this side is smooth. Like that. And then he has these cute little fins. This is what his mobile capability comes from, this little fin off the back of his, and it's down low right there. I think it's kind of how it balances him too. Okay, so that's the sketch. And then, like I said, he's got these cute little hairy spikes that, like a mohawk, that goes up and then curves around this way, and they get quite long where these points are, like hair almost, like a mane, like a horse would have. Okay. And then below the little fin, there's another. Set of those, and then it goes back to just the points. All right, so that's how you sketch him. He's not too tough. Now I want you to see, this one is about 5 fingers tall. Okay, and I have kind of large fingers, so 5 fingers tall. Okay, so the brushes I'm using today to stroke this guy, he's going to be a 10 flat. And then for some of the detail, we're going to use a 2 flat and a 2 script liner. And then I have a daughter. I couldn't find my Kiss daughter, so I got just a stylus daughter out. Okay, so we're ready to go with those. And then just 3 colors we're working with today. I have aqua, and this is patina. Oh, no, they're not. I'm sorry. I thought I had aqua and patina. I have Hawaiian surf and ocean view. So very similar shades, but just slightly lighter. All right, so this ocean view and Hawaiian surf, and then wicker white. That's for sure. Yes, wicker white. Okay. And so then I want just a touch of floating medium. I don't need much as I'm using a 10 flat, so I should be able to get enough load on my brush. Okay, so I'm getting my 10 flat damp and laying it on paper towel. There we go. And then let's come down, and I'm going to load. First I'm going to load with all the ocean view. All ocean view, and then I'm going to side load some white. There you go. Okay, so let's move. I want to move this over here and this over here. Okay, so with that, with the white edge to his little bottle nose here, we're going to come right along and just get that shape, do a little round on the end with the light, and then come down, and we're going to go right over his whole body. So we're just going to base coat him, and his face is lighter, so that's why the white edge is to the right. And then we're going to just come right down with this ocean view. And then as I'm doing that, as I'm coming around the front, I'm going to go point, point, point for each of those little points right there. Okay, and then we come down, and then I can erase that outside pencil line. Now, obviously, when you sketch this, you're not going to want to have all these pencil lines showing. I made these dark so that you would see them, but by the time I get done, you won't be able to see them. Okay, And it's kind of nice to be able to see them through my paint so that I know where I'm putting my strokes. All right, so when I get down here, we're going to use our 2 to come in and do these points. So I'm not even going to attempt to do that with this bigger brush. I'm just going to bring this patina and white down. Okay. And you could use a liner if you needed to get in there. Now, then I'm going to take this same loaded brush and I'm going to wipe it off. Excuse me. I'm going to wipe it off and I'm going to load with the Ocean View and then the Hawaiian Surf, okay? Or Aqua and Patina, whichever you prefer. These are very similar in color. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to rotate my brush so that my light edge is to the outside, and I'm going to just let's side stroke a tiny bit of white here. Tiny bit of white. And you know what, if you don't want to do it now, you can always come out and do it later with the 2. Okay, so right against this back right here, let's come down now because you've seen the colors. All right, so I'm going to just do little wiggles out. Well, first let's come straight because I want to make sure I get right up against his back. All right, then we can wiggle out and in, and stand up. Okay, just to get that cute little fin on his back. I'm going to bring this just a little wider. There we go. So kind of like a butterfly wing almost. All right, and then I took the chisel edge, let me side load just a little more of that darker blue. Took the chisel edge and I flicked out with that corner to get some stronger detail lines coming out from that fin. Okay. All right, now with that same loaded brush, I'm going to have to move things around here so that I can get at him. So I'm going to turn him sideways and I'm going to take that dark edge and we're going to go along the back of his body. And when we get down here, we're going to stop. Okay. And you can work that in if you need to. You just come up to the back of the head. Okay, then let's get a little bit of medium on here now because my paint's feeling a little sticky. Oops. And then I'm going to come and side stroke a little more of this Hawaiian Surf. All right, and we're going to come back to our points right here. All right, so we're going to go on the flat of the brush and we're going to go point, 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 kind of like doing holly leaves at Christmas. Point and then come down to the tail and stand up. Okay, so now you're really starting to see some of that definition on that body. Okay, now to finish this up with this dark edge, I'm going to just come along the bottom of his snout and sweep up for his jaw. So you got to come on the chisel and then push and rotate upwards. There we go. All right, so now we've got his cute little head all set to go. Now, before I get any further, I'm going to take the handle of my brush, dip it into the Hawaiian Surf, and I'm going to come right in here and dot his eye. Okay, so that can dry up a little bit and we can do some more detail. All right, so I'm done with that big brush. And I'm going to come and get my 2 flat and let's back up just a hair. So I dampen my 2 flat. Remember, this is a very small brush, so when you want to multi-load it, you have to side stroke colors, okay? So the first thing I want to do with this, I want to get a little bit of medium And then I'm going to come and side load white. Okay, so I'm side loading white on a 2 flat. Little brushes. All right, now remember we did that secondary line of indentations that formed his front of his belly. So that starts, I can see it through my pencil sketch, or through my paint, I can see my pencil sketch. So right up here under the jaw, and we're going to come meet those points. There, there, there. Rotating the brush down as you do. Okay, so now you've got, now you're starting to really get some depth in there, and you're seeing that front of his belly. Okay, then you're going to flip the brush over. I'm side loading a little more white. Flip the brush over, and we're going to come from the top of his head, remember? Right, so right about here, let's come, you know what, let's come down from the side and then tip my camera just a little so my hand doesn't get in the way. There we go. So right from behind the eye, I'm going to do, let's get that flattened out there. Point, point, point. See that? And then we're going to come down and match these points up. Point, 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 point. And we're coming all the way down to the tail there. So now you're really starting to see that detail. Okay. Now, again, I'm going to side load a little bit of white, and I'm going to come right up across the top of his snout here. And, oops, I grabbed some of his eye. That's not good. Easily taken care of though, because his background color is dry. I just take a damp brush that's clean and remove it. And then put that back in there. There we go. Easy fix. And take that handle and put that eye back in there. All right, so now let's grab, just pick up white, just grab white on the end of this brush. And right here, I'm just going to pull this down to form that little snout. And then I'm going to grab some of the Hawaiian surf. And in front of that, I'm going to add just a little curve. I think I got too heavy with that white. Let me take some of that back out. Here we go. Grab that Hawaiian surf and come in the middle. There we go. All right, so now you get a little look at his end of his mouth, nose area. Okay, so on the chisel edge of this brush, I tried it both with my script liner and the chisel edge of this brush, and I got better results with the brush. Okay, so I've loaded it with that Hawaiian surf, and I'm going to take just the chisel edge and I'm going to flick up, 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 and come around, right? So you're creating these little hairs or fins or whatever these are coming off the back of him, and they're curving down like that. And then he's got a few more down here, there, and there. So you're flicking so they get a little point on the end. He needs bubbles, yes. Okay, so now I'm going to wipe that brush off and grab just a touch of white. So I just loaded white, and we're going to come and overlay some of these with this little white highlight. It's a little bit smaller stroke than the first one was. There we go. Okay, now wipe off, get a little bit of the Hawaiian surf, and I'm going to come, he's got a little kind of like a fin on the side of his face. And I'm just going to pull little short strokes out like that. Get a little bit of that, what's it called? Sea mist? Ocean view, excuse me. and overlay that to give it a little highlight. Okay. All right, now the rest of this is 2 script liner and a dotter. So I'm going to get my script liner damp, and I'm going to get some white and a little bit of water and get this inky load on my script liner, right? So remember, when we're mixing with the water, you're mixing the whole length of the brush, and give it a twist as you come out. Okay, so what we want to do now is where these points are, you're just going to pull a line from one to the side to the other with a little bit of a downward slope, and I'm laying with a little bit of pressure on each one. Okay, and if for any reason you can't, like I can't really see these points back here, so I'm going to go ahead and re-highlight those so that they show up. You can get a little bit stronger white, bring this down. And then down the tail, you're going to pull curved stripes. Oh, I see one thing I forgot to do. So we'll come back to that. All right, so pull curved stripes. Wipe that brush off. Let's get some of the Hawaiian surf loaded on it. And we're going to get our points on the back of the tail. See there? So come down, down. There and there. Okay, so now he's looking really good. Come back to a little bit of white again and pull those lines. Now you can see them stand out a little better. And then I highlighted the front of the tail with that white on my brush. Okay, I'm going to get just a touch more of this Hawaiian surf, and he has a few of those little points coming up off of his trunk or snout or whatever that is. And then around the eye, just a little bit of outline. There we go. Now I'm going to take my dotter. So I'm using a fairly small point on this one. If you have a kiss dotter, that's even better. And I'm just going to get white on my dotter. And first thing I'm going to do is put a little highlight right there in his eye. Okay. And then on each of these points, let's get it stronger, we're going to dot. So actually I think I'll use the bigger ball on this one to get those points. So you're dotting each of these points here with white. Okay. And then this side here. And this is where it got kind of fun because he's got all these little dots all over him. The one that I saw was actually purple, but I like the aqua colors for this. And they do have them in they come in all kinds of different colors. But they have all these little tiny, tiny dots all around, all over their bodies. And they're very fluorescent underwater. On these points here on his tummy. Okay, and then right here on little fin. Okay, cute little dots. All right, so then let's come to the skinnier dot here. I came in between each of these, and on these lines put some smaller dots, and they show up against those lines that I did because the lines were inky, so they're a little more faded. Okay, and then down on the tail you can just do a few little dots there. And he even had him, he looks like he's got the measles, but he even had little tiny dots all over his face, going up here, and then everywhere that one of these little things came off the side of his body is another one. So he's like a polka dotted pony here. Little tiny dots. Okay. And there you go. Isn't he cute? So as I've mentioned, my classes coming up in March are going to be incorporating a lot of these pieces that I've been demonstrating this month. So keep these in reference, and they'll be up on my YouTube channel fairly quickly. My husband's been real good about getting these things published for me. So there you go. This is the first one, and then this is the, whoops, there we go. This is the first one, and then that's the one we did today. His head's a little bit bigger, his eyes a little bit bigger, so, but I think they're both really cute. So I hope you enjoyed that. It's a fun little demonstration, another fun undersea creature, our seahorse. So thank you so much for joining me for this demonstration.